Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to In the Trenches with Dr. Tammy. Listen, this week has been so extremely busy. Yes, you get to see the rare appearance, of those readers again. They are out and about, honey. Listen, when you're in your 50s, you have to sometimes get a little bit of help. So we are wearing the readers today. And you're probably wondering why readers? Well, we're bringing back our Fire Take Friday this morning, and I'm going to have to read. So I'm going to read you those questions again. And for those of you who are watching a Fire Take Friday for the first time or listening in, if you're listening in, the way that it works is this. I collect questions that my followers have sent to me or I have worked with someone on and worked them through finding a solution to that question. So I read that question and I tell you immediately my first thoughts on the question. Now, some of you say, well, hey, have you had time to think about these questions? No, I haven't. I write them down and then I don't think about them until it's time for me to speak on them. Now, before we hop into that, I need to share with you, some of you are probably saying, why is she in that t-shirt today or in a t-shirt again? Let me tell you, when you work from home, sometimes you're like, it is a t-shirt day. And because it's so rainy outside, I'm wearing one that reminds me of a good time that I had. And that was when I was at Myrtle Beach with my beautiful now adult children, enjoying some sunshine, enjoying some nice warm weather, and maybe, just maybe, an adult beverage. So there you have it. That is what we're doing in a t-shirt today, reminding myself of some nice, beautiful weather and some great times with my three amazing children. Now, back to Fire Take Friday. Let's get started with the questions. So the first question is, and this one tickled me because I'm actually in the middle of doing this very thing. So it's a statement, then a question, kind of, sort of. So it says, wedding planning is stressful. I can see why people do destination weddings or elope. What are you doing and why? Okay, so let's start unpacking first what was said. So let's start with wedding planning is stressful. It can be if you let it. And I'm laughing because I sometimes am up. I have my laptop out. I'll have my iPad out. I have my handy dandy notebook because if you know me, you know that I am the queen of spiral notebooks. I have to write things down. I am so old school. I love technology. I love electronics. I do. But I need to write things down. So you will see me with all of these things out. You would think that that's very stressful. That portion of it actually is calming to me because I'm able to put my hands on it. I'm able to control what is happening in that moment. However, for those of you who are in the middle of wedding planning right now, just like I am, I can most definitely understand how you can think it was stressful because there's that huge coordination of everything. You have to coordinate everything, the logistics of it. Who's your photographer? Who's making your cake? Where are you getting your dress? Where are the tuxedos coming from? Are there bridesmaids, groomsmen? What are they wearing? What are you going to eat? Are you having a plated meal or are you having a buffet? Let me tell you, When you even start thinking about the actual cake itself, they want to know who's cutting the cake for you. And if you are having them cut it, how much are they charging you to slice your cake? Then they want to know, is there a cocktail hour? What are you doing to a cocktail hour? Do you have a signature drink? What are you doing? So you start putting all of these things together, And if you are a lady, let's start talk about that. Who's doing your hair? What about your makeup? You need to accessorize with your dress. What kind of shoes are you wearing? And some ladies have one dress for the ceremony and another dress for the reception. Now that I'm not doing. I am not doing two dresses. It was hard enough for me to find my one, to let alone two. It was hard. So no, not for me. But for the question of what are you doing as well and why, I am doing it all in one beautiful venue. So we're not having a church. We found a really nice old school mansion, and that is what we are doing. Everything is going to be done there, and it's going to be beautiful. And is it stressful? Some days. So I am taking it one day at a time, so I can certainly see on my stressful days of planning how one would say, let me elope or do a destination wedding where someone else does all of the planning. So there it is. That question is down. Question number 2. Ooh, this one was a tough one. I may take some time on this one too. I hear that people who are biracial of both Caucasian and African American descent. So they focused on those two biracial ethnicities. While I know that there are other types of biracial ethnicities, that's how I'm going to say it for lack of a better term in this episode, because that was how the question was asked to me, are being told that they must choose a side, meaning they have to choose a side to identify with. They're going to identify with just their side as an African American, or they're going to identify with the side of being a Caucasian. So the question was asked of me to give my thoughts. And they said, what are your thoughts about this since you have biracial children? Now, I want to try to keep this as short and brief as possible. I don't think your children need to choose a side. There's not a side that needs to be chosen. You can't tell a person to simply ignore an entire part of their heritage. That is not okay. That is not appropriate. These children, to include my own who are now adults, need to know who they are. Overall, not choose a side. Someone said, well, if your children look more Caucasian, they need to choose that side. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's been said to me before because my children are fairer. That's how I'm going to say it. They are fairer than some other children may be when there is a biracial ethnicity taking place there. I'm trying to do this as politically correct as I possibly can, so I'm trying to choose my words without being offensive to anyone. But it is offensive to tell a person that they must choose one another or the other. No, there's not a choice to be made. They are who they are. Allow them to be who they are authentically without you or anyone else telling them how it should be done. Now, I'm keeping that short because otherwise I could be on that for days. There's so much more I want to say because this impacts my own children. They have the choice to be free in who it is that they are. And yes, they are very familiar with both sides of their heritage. We wanted them to be well-rounded adults. And that's really what you need to be focused on. Are they well-rounded, productive citizens who understand all of their heritage? That's where I stand on that point. That's question number 2. I kept that one short because let me tell you, you want to get this mama bear upset? Start messing with my children. Okay? Number 3, if someone of the opposite sex pays for the vacation, are you obligated to be intimate with them? Now listen, I didn't write these questions. I didn't come up with them, but this question has come up with a lot of people on social media. I've seen it everywhere. I've seen people get upset once they arrived and there was not that connection that they were hoping to receive. That's how we're going to use it because we keep it clean over here. They didn't get the type of connection that they were looking for once everyone arrived on site into the vacation location. I'm tickled because this blows my mind because as an adult, one, if I'm going on a vacation with someone of the opposite sex, there are going to be multiple conversations had before we arrive. Because one, did you discuss whether or not you were sharing space? Meaning, do they have a room? Do you have a room? And if not, and you're sharing one living space during the vacation, a conversation should be had about who is sleeping where and what is happening in lieu of sleeping. Again, we keep it clean over here. I personally don't believe that there's an obligation. However, if it has not been discussed on the front end, then I could understand, or I could at least logically see how someone would be under the impression that something else could be happening. The key here is this, that it doesn't matter what you do for another person. They're never obligated to do anything with or for you. That is where we need to have the conversations about expectations up front. And that's even beyond a vacation. We need to have conversations about what's expected of someone else if we do something for them. And I think that's where the downfall and the disconnect is many times, is that when someone does something for you, there is an expectation of reciprocation in some way for them from you, when that shouldn't be the case. If you're going to do something for someone, do it. Do it out of the kindness of your heart. That includes a vacation. Now, I know, it's probably not what you wanted to hear. You probably wanted me to say something else, but you got to talk about these things up front. And if it's going to be problematic, this is what I would say to you. Do not accept something as huge as a vacation from someone else if you believe there is going to be an issue. Do not get over there in those people's country and say, well, I didn't know. That was a conversation you should have had up front. Don't do it if you think there is going to be some discontent. That's my take on that. That was question number 3. Number 4. This is a hot topic too. A lot of hot topics today. I don't know if we're going to have time for all of them. Should your spouse defend you if your family is mistreating you in any way? That's an easy answer. He better. Yes. Your spouse should defend you even if it's their family. Their family doesn't have a right to mistreat you, just like your family doesn't have a right to mistreat them. Your spouse is and always should be your safe space, your number one fan and supporter. Being born into a family doesn't mean they have the right to mistreat your person. And your spouse should stick up for you at all times. I know some of you are going to say, but that's easier said than done. No, it's not. No, it's not. Absolutely, it is not. You need to stand firm on that like you do many other things. Do not allow your spouse to be mistreated by anyone. And some of you will say, well, my spouse will take up for themselves. Well, of course they can, but that's putting them in a hard space when it's your family. They don't want to make it any more difficult than it already is. Speak up as well. Stand there as a united front, and then your people, whoever's family it is, will understand that, hey, we cannot act this way. And they may not ever like your person, and that's fine too. But don't allow them, do not allow them to be mistreated in any way by anyone. That's my take. Number 5. We're going to run out of time. Should entrepreneurs expect family and friends to support them? This one was a tough one for me to learn. So I have a travel business, and you all know that. I also, within the last year, became a published author. And of course, I have the podcast. The podcast was the biggest one for me that showed me that I could not have an expectation of family and friends. And it tickled me because so many of my family and friends would always say, hey, we see you on social media saying this or saying that. You should start a podcast. You would be great. I started a podcast. Those same friends and family couldn't tell you what I talk about on the podcast at all. They couldn't tell you how many episodes I'm currently in. They couldn't tell you. But they were the ones who said, hey, do this, do that. Same thing with the travel business. Ooh, we can't wait for you to start booking travel. We're going to book travel with you. Do they? They don't. And I'm saying these things to you to let you know that we cannot have the expectation. We simply cannot. You simply cannot, because if you do, you're going to hurt your own feelings. And I'm just going to be honest, because initially I did have those expectations. Hey, they're going to be my number one supporters because they lifted me up. They, in that time, in those moments, they spoke life into me, which I am still eternally grateful for. However, I have learned as an entrepreneur, that's just not the case. It's simply not the case. They didn't buy all the books. They didn't book the travel. They don't watch the podcast. So as an entrepreneur, it's important for you to know this. Do not have the expectation of those closest to you to show up and show out on a regular basis. Okay? Just keep doing the work. Keep doing what you know God told you to do. And those who will support, and those won't, they won't. But keep doing what you know you're supposed to do. Keep walking the walk that you know you were supposed to walk. Because that journey and that vision was given to you and only you by the Most High. Now, I have more questions, but we have run out of time. I will have to get to those on our next Fire Take Friday. Listen, these are always so much fun. And again, charge it to my head, not my heart, if I didn't give you the answer that you were expecting. It is what it is. Listen to me. Enjoy this Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Love on those who love on you. And if you are a giver, keep giving. It doesn't matter about what others are doing. Again, it doesn't matter what others are doing. Be you authentically. That's the life I'm trying to live right now. Be you. And as I always like to try to say to you, let love win. Lead with kindness and love. Happy Friday. Happy Friday to you. Much, much, much love.